Oh, here goes, and welcome to the 107th episode of Throwback Hoops. Woody's in the house. Please follow the show on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcasts. We appreciate everyone's ongoing support. And as always, I'm joined by my main man, Robbie Kitten. What's going on, brother?
What's up, Woods? Good to be back. We've got a lot to talk about this week, don't we? It's been a pretty big week in both the NBA and NBL. 1 week out from NBL finals as well. Not sure if both of our teams will be in those finals, but we can certainly chop that up a little bit in the show.
Definitely a really exciting time of the year, Robbie, and yes, I can't wait. So without further ado, let's do it, man. Let's get this show on the road. So what jerseys have you got for us today?
Sounds good. So as usual, I'm doing the double. So I'm doing a Sacramento Kings double throwback jersey today. So some real old school looking ones here. So look, the one I'm hanging up behind me there, so it's a DeMarcus Cousins blue Kings Adidas jersey. So a throwback to the 1980s jerseys that the Sacramento Kings wore. Obviously, not a lot of people know about Boogie, 4-time All-Star. So what I thought I'd do, maybe didn't speak a lot about Boogie, I'll focus more on the one I'm wearing now. So I'll stand up and show you this one. Bit of a blast from the past. I know it's someone you probably like, so I'll give you a look at this one now.
And for those who can't see, Robbie's wearing a Reggie Theus number 24 Sacramento Kings jersey. What a looking guy.
I know you're loving that one, right? I know you're loving that one.
Yeah, good job.
Nice. I've been wanting to wear this one for a while, actually. I was sort of digging through the cupboards last night and it was kind of stuck up behind. I'm like, oh, I've got to wear that. I really like this design, I've got to say as well. So this particular one, Woods, it's a Hardwood Classics jersey showing the 85, 86 jerseys that Reggie Theus wore for the Kings back then. So definitely a nice looking jersey. Look, a little bit about the man known as Riverboat Reggie. He played 14 seasons in the NBA after getting drafted out of UNLV. At pick 9 in the 1978 draft. A great year that one was. Drafted by the Bulls, and he went on to play with them, the Kings, the Hawks, the Magic, and the Nets. Actually finished his career in Europe. I believe he played a season in Italy and then a season in Greece there. Pretty decent accolades. 2-time NBA All-Star in 81 and 83. He was an NBA All-Rookie first team. His number 23 is retired by UNLV. Career NBA averages as well, Woods, of 18 points, 3 assists and 6 boards, so pretty solid stats there. So he's currently 66 years of age. He coaches at Bethune-Cookman University, which is a Div 1 college in Daytona Beach, Florida. I must admit, when I saw that last night, I'm like, wow, I don't know a lot about that college there. So I had a look. Probably the most high-profile player I could see from that college is actually in the NBL right now. So none other than 36ers player Alex Starling. So he was about the only one I could see that sort of is of any sort of name that's gone on to play professionally from that college. So I certainly remember his years with the Kings. Also that one season he had with the Hawks in 1988, that was, I was around 10 at the time, real huge Hawks fan at that time. So he actually played all 82 games and averaged about 15 points. So what are your memories of Theus, Woods? I think you'll probably say he's acting, given he was on that Hang Time show from 95 to 97. But yeah, what were your memories of Reggie Theus?
He was a ladies' man, that's for sure, right? He was one of those guys that, was always a fan favorite with the female fans of the sport. Just a unsung performer as well. Quietly went about his business. Great teammate. If you watch Basketball Love Story, great documentary. There's quite a nice piece on Reggie Theus. And yeah, obviously stayed involved in the game and still giving to the sport. So I remember him fondly for not only what he could do on the court, but a great larger-than-life character as well, right? You need personalities like that. The game does, right?
He had a very short stint as head coach of Sacramento too, didn't he? They signed him, I think, maybe for a 3-year deal. I'm not sure if he even lasted a season there, which is a bit strange. But definitely a homegrown California legend as well. He was born in Inglewood. As I mentioned, the UNLV player with his jersey retired. They're pretty modest stats. I was interested when I looked at that. Didn't have amazing stats in his 3 seasons at UNLV, but enough for him to retire his jersey. So, yeah, liking this one, Woods. I'm not sure. Is this one that you knew I had in the collection? I always like surprising you with maybe some you didn't know I had this one. So, nice. Plenty of Sacramento.
Love those jerseys.
They are nice, aren't they? Yeah. Plenty of Sacramento jerseys. I reckon after the Hawks, they'd probably been my second most represented teams. I don't know quite how that's worked out, but yeah. Shout out to Boogie. Shout out to Reggie Theus. So, I see you rocking a nice Nets one today. Why don't you show us that one?
Sure.
The Woods is standing up wearing the Nets number 3 Petro jersey. Rest in peace. Now, I hope you're going to pronounce his name properly, Woods, because I know you do sometimes say it wrong, but yeah.
All right. Petrovic.
Correct. Nice, we'll go with that. Nice jersey. I'm liking that one.
Yeah, so I mean, as you said, rest in peace, 1964 to 1993. He was taken too soon from us. Paved the way for future European players, right? He was the 60th overall pick in the 3rd round of the 1986 NBA draft. Stayed with Real Madrid for a few years before coming to Portland Trail Blazers and the New Jersey Nets. In his short NBA career, he was All-NBA third-teamer, 2-time, in Europe, as a 2 EuroLeague champion. Apparently he scored 100 points in a game from memory. It was really unfortunate that he got taken from us too soon, but the legend of Drazen lives on, right?
100%. I think he really broke that notion of Euro players being soft back in the day. I mean, this was a guy that came out and he was certainly soft, would never be a word you could use to describe him. He had a real kind of aggro about the way he played. Tenacious defender, would always dive on the floor for loose balls, and just an amazing shooter. You could tell he was someone that had just practiced so much on his game, throughout his junior years, and making the NBA, and he's sort of mid to late 20s maybe by the time he got there. So yeah, absolutely. Woods taken too soon. Would have been really interested to see how much of a career he could have had. He wasn't tragically killed.
I really like it how someone wore his jersey in the 3-point shootout. I'm just having Blanco as Golden State sharpshooter. Then he played for New Jersey as well. What was his name? I'm on a blank now.
How long ago? I can't even remember that.
It was a while back. And a point shootout. I'll get the name.
Okay. Right.
All right, so let's move on, man. I want to sort of start with some NBL talk, right? Let me bring up data first and foremost, and let's have a look at it and see where things are at, right? So
you've been busy with the slides this week, I know, Wood. So yeah, let's see that.
I have.
You're still on that dial-up internet today as well, I see, Woods.
See that ladder come up? Yep.
Yeah, it's up. It's up. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? So, yeah, look, a lot of teams have got doubles this week, don't they? Like, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4 teams have got doubles there. So I think a few teams have definitely been knocked out now, haven't they? So obviously Southeast and Adelaide and Cairns are all out. And so is it basically just down for Kings for that 6th spot, right?
Yeah, so I mean, the Kings have got to play Southeast Melbourne, and they should take that out. You'd like so anyway. I mean, they haven't been in the best form lately, but I think an undermanned Southeast Melbourne team should be enough for the Kings to beat, and they should probably just sneak in 6th spot. But, I think you're going to be really happy with the way the Hawks have played. As a big win yesterday against Sydney, right? So,
yeah. I mean, interesting was he saying they should sneak in. I mean, the destiny's not really in their hands now, is it? If, like, say Brisbane win that game, they go to 14 wins, Sydney can't pass them. And if New Zealand go 2-0 in this last round, they go to 14 and Sydney can't pass them. So it's dependent on other results rather than them. They could beat Southeast Melbourne by 50 this week and still miss out. So it's unbelievable to think, isn't it? The defending back-to-back champs there are, fighting in 7th spot now, and 3 games under 500, which I know we mentioned last week. We just totally shocked to sort of see that they'd be under 50% there. But yeah, it's going to be a real interesting round, isn't it?
Well, I think the Breakers play the Bullets, right? So one of them is going to lose the game, and right. Kings have a far superior, percentage there. So provided they beat SEM, they're pretty much guaranteed that spot in the top 6, right?
So, good call there. Yeah, Bullets are really minus 60, and that just shows you, like we spoke again last week, Woods, about how important it is to get these shots up at the end of games, because this could make a difference. Teams that there's no running out the shot clock and trying to do the gentlemanly thing anymore. So, yeah, I think you're right. And Kings are at home as well against Southeast. Is that right? Or?
No, they're away.
Oh, so they are away. Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. Oof, man, you never know. Southeast would love to go in and play spoiler in that game, wouldn't they? And sort of end the championship run of the Kings there. So, wow. Yeah, we're going to be watching these games of interest.
Yeah, definitely. Let's just move on to the round there and speak a little bit about those games and the teams, right? So biggest round, last round of the year. Maybe I'll start off with Illawarra versus Perth Wildcats on Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean, look, Illawarra seem like they've had Perth's number a little bit. I'm not sure. Perth have got the 2 games this week. They've already wrapped up second spot, so I'll be interested to see what John Riley's game plan is this week. Do they try and potentially give some of the bench a bit of a go? Very strange last game against Cairns. It was seemingly a game for 3 quarters and just Perth ran away with it against a Cairns team who have got quite a few issues, I would have thought. Yeah, I'd say Illawarra might win this one. I feel like they do have Perth's measure at the moment, so yeah, I'll say the Hawks.
So, yeah, I'll probably agree with you on that, but let me ask you something. Do Perth still have a mathematical chance to be number 1?
Possibly, yeah. Melbourne's definitely got that better percentage there. So, look, I think if Perth go 2 and out and Melbourne lose, they could, but yeah, Melbourne's got Cairns, Perth's got 2 games. I think it's very unlikely. I think Perth would almost be more happy just to finish in that second spot and, like I said, maybe play Cotton some limited minutes, give some more run to some of the bench guys, you know, your Henschels, your Ockwera, maybe Corey Webster, those sort of guys, and try and keep the main guys fresh.
Yep, I'm going to agree with you on that one. So this is the next game on Friday night that I told you that it's going to be really important, which will guarantee that the Sydney will make it through to the top 6. It's New Zealand at home, hosting the Brisbane Blitz. So I think New Zealand should be able to take care of business there at home. What do you think?
I agree. I think New Zealand, and look, that points for and against the Brisbane could really come back to bite them, being so far behind the 8 ball there. So I think New Zealand at home should get that one. But yeah, that's going to be a game to watch, that one for sure.
All right, and then Cairns have had the war on Melbourne United. Melbourne might actually rest some of their guys, right? In this final round, they've got 2 games actually. Melbourne do. It's not a single. I think they've got 2 this round, right? So
yeah. What's going on with Cairns Woods? That's a weird team. I know you might have tweeted or you certainly sent a message and sort of mentioned that, you know, the Taj McCall thing, 9 minutes playing against Perth, but seems to be a few issues. I'm wondering whether it's one of those cases. They've clearly got a good coach there, but we've mentioned on you know, previous shows back in the day that sometimes the coach's voice starts to not be heard as much when they've been in a team for quite a while. So I wonder if it's that sort of situation for Cairns, or do you think that's something they can work out there?
Look, I'm really concerned because having Taj McCall play in that must-win game was really important for them. There's no way they're a better team with him off the floor than on the floor, right?
Yeah.
Look, he's the spiritual leader of this team. He obviously coached the team in the preseason. At halftime, you've got those little features on NBA players at the halftime of games, and he talks about how Adam Ford is like a bigger brother to him, and they've developed such a great bond over the last 3 years. He's spoken about staying in Innsbruck, and naturalizing, much like Tyler Harvey may do shortly. So for them to have a falling out of such magnitude where he's getting put in the doghouse, and you could see on Taj's face sitting on the bench that he wasn't happy. Yeah. And, you know, Annalie May was saying on the sideline that, like, those two were so icy, they weren't even talking to each other. It's a very big concern for me. And Adam Ford, as much as I've liked him over the years, rotations this year leave a lot to be desired. One guy plays 1 week, one guy doesn't play. And I'm not sure that he's done as good a job as he has done in previous years. It'd be interesting to get your thoughts on how you think Adam Ford has performed and what's the future there. Will Taj McCall come back Cairns next year?
I also think Bull Quall's body language was really poor throughout that game. He was, you know, arguing with assistant coaches. He spent literally half the game complaining with refs. He was, I don't know what his story was in that game. But yeah, look, I think Ford's definitely loved up there, you know, probably internally and externally as well. So I'd say he will be back. Yeah, not quite sure about Taj McCall. I'm not sure if he's under contract for another year. But yeah, it's obviously he likes the place. He's been there a while, probably calls it home now. But yeah, we'll see if they can sort these differences out. I think they're both guys that, you know, have got a good relationship, so maybe they're a chance to sort it out. But certainly it didn't look good in that game against the Wildcats, did it?
Yeah, no, it didn't. Okay, so this is a must-win game for Sydney. I'm not sure if any of the stars will be playing for Southeast Melbourne, Gary Brown or Crew, or obviously Alan Williams is out for the season. Really, Southeast Melbourne would be best placed to give these young guys more of a run and sort of start, you know, preparing for next season and give them some experience. So can you see Sydney losing that game?
Well, I think someone probably needs to tap DJ Hogue on the shoulder just to let him know that the season started. So that might be a good idea if someone can do that this week, and we're in the last round of the regular season. But yeah, way too much for Sydney to play for here. Geez, this would be huge if Southeast, with half their team out, could knock off the back-to-back chance. But yeah, I'd say Sydney should win, and look, they might even win comfortably in this game, I'd say.
Yeah, DJ Hug's visibly been playing with an injury, right? You can see that he's not at his best. People are just blowing past him. Does Sydney run it back with DJ Hug next year if he's fully fit?
Yeah, I think they could probably give him a pass, couldn't they, if he's had this injury lingering all season. But again, Wood, some of these, substitution patterns. We saw Tui was getting some weird spot minutes last week. Still feel like there's too much Angus Glover and Sean Bruce there. So I'm really not sure what's going on. I don't know what can save the coach at the moment. So although if they win this one and then they suddenly win a play-in and get into the semis or the grand final, maybe he does stay. But yeah, a lot to ponder in the Harbour City at the moment.
That notion's far-fetched, man, what you just said. But anyway, let's move on. Tasmania versus Perth at my State Bank Arena on Saturday. That's going to be a really good game. And with Perth probably locking up that number 2 seed. I don't know, Tasmania. I've got Tasmania probably winning that one.
Look, these are certainly two teams that could see each other, later on in the playoffs there, depending on what happens there. So, again, I'm not too sure with Perth. I mean, yeah, finishing off with a road trip there, how hungry they'll be for this game. I don't think they want to go into the final series like losing those last 2 games. But, look, I picked Illawarra to beat them, so maybe I'll say they split it for the weekend and they beat Tassie in this game and go 1-1 for the weekend.
Fair enough. And then United versus Illawarra. You think that if Melbourne have locked in the number 1 seed at this point, that a lot of the guys would be getting a bit of rest in that game, considering they don't have to play the play-in, they're just going to get a free run that round of the playoffs, right?
The thing for me is I still reckon that Melbourne roster is the deepest roster in the league, so they could rest a lot of their guns and still have a quality outfit out there. So, I think Illawarra will probably do what I'm picking Perth to do and go 1-1. So I'll say United, wrap up that minor premiership and beat the Hawks.
Yeah, look, I agree with you then. I just want to quickly touch on Illawarra. Coach Justin Tatum has brought during starting lineup and moved Justin Robinson to the bench over the last 3 or 4 games. And Justin Robinson's really been closing those games out well and playing some good basketball. You think he stays on the bench as they go into this playoff run?
Probably not a bad idea to do it. Look, his field goal percentage is still absolutely horrendous, Justin Robinson. But, yeah, maybe that's not a bad idea. Bring him on against some of the more second units there. He's still a very good defender. He can make some things happen on the court. So, yeah, I still feel like they're trying to find that's another team that's quite a deep roster, and I think it's trying to find that balance of fitting guys in there. But, yeah, Tatum's doing a good job. So I think they'll probably stick with what they're doing.
How good has Hickey been? I think Tatum's got the best out of him, hasn't he?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, this final game, Adelaide's obviously out and can't qualify for the play more, but this will have finals implication, and it's going to be a must-win game for the New Zealand Breakers as well, right? They could end up being a 500 team if they do win, right?
Yeah, I mean, Scott News, this is a big game for him, right? He'd really want to see the season out with a win on the home court there. On that home court with Brett Maher's signature on, so I know they're pretty close, those two, so I know Ninnis would love to get a win there. I'm going to say Adelaide might finish with this one. Maybe New Zealand do the 1-1 split this weekend as well. So, yeah, I certainly like what Adelaide have given. I'll back them at home in this one.
Okay, that's interesting, man. I'm probably going to go to New Zealand on that one. Just now, listen. I'm hearing through the grapevine rumors that it's very close, nearly a done deal. That Brian Goodwin is going to take over as head coach of the Adelaide 36ers, and Scott is going to move in as the head of basketball operations. Right?
Yeah, interesting if that happens.
What do you think about that?
Well, it would be good, firstly, to keep a club legend in Ninnis around. But look, I think you probably can't go wrong with Gorge. And I know a few people were slightly concerned about some of the moves and some of the coaching he had in that World Championship there. But I think, World Cup, I think we give him the benefit of the doubt there. He's an absolute legend of the game there. So I think it's probably a decent move there. He's got great recruiting power as well. You could see him getting some players maybe back from places like Japan or Europe. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of Aussies in Europe these days. They're either sort of in Australia, America or Japan these days. But I'm sure he can get some of these contacts and get some good guys back in the league. So, yeah, it'll be a big coup for them if they can get a big name like Gorge, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see how that plays out. Really interesting round. So everyone just keep your eyes peeled to the TV this weekend. Look, I want to move on to some NBA talk. We got the All-Star weekend coming up, right? And I want to just go through the various different contests and events that are going to be there. So maybe let's kick that off, shall we? So just bring up the rising.
As long as we don't have to talk about the celebrity game, then I'm all good, because that's just we're not talking.
Yeah, we won't talk about that. So maybe we'll start with the rising challenge. There's 4 teams. We've got Team Paul Gasol, Team Tamika, Team Jalen and Team Detlef, which I'm loving.
Yeah.
You can see, I want to go through all the players here on the screen here, but as you can see, maybe you want to point out some of the guys you're looking forward to watching in this Rising Stars Challenge.
Well, look, I mean, probably the first and the second team, there's a lot of people I'd be interested to see there. You know, that first team, just having Wemby and Brandon Miller would be exciting. Obviously, seeing our own Dyson Daniels on the Team Tamika Catchings team there, so that'll be great to see Daniels. He seems like he's had a few little stints at these All-Star Game activities over the last couple of years. Yeah, so probably looking forward to see the first two teams, I guess. Certainly some interesting names on those rosters there anyway. So, yeah, I didn't mind the format the way they did this last year, so it's always a fairly entertaining game, I guess.
Yeah, really looking forward to seeing Shrempf on the mic. Him being in the public eye, right? He's a very entertaining, well-spoken guy, and look forward to coaching that. That's the G League team that he's coaching, right? So that's going to be fun. And these guys actually care, unlike the All-Star game where no one cares. These guys are all looking to win, and the last few years it's been quite enjoyable, this Rising Stars Challenge, so really excited for it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
All right, your favorite event of the All-Star weekend, Robbie? Do you want to take the viewers who can't see the graphic on the screen, who the contestants are going to be in the three-point test?
I'm really looking forward to this, as I am every year, like you said, Woods. Look, it's a pretty big name field, isn't it? They've got, 5 of the guys... six All-Stars in it, so it's only Larry Markkinen who was an All-Star last year, and Malik Beasley's probably really the only player that's not like a household name, you'd say, on that one. So really good field. Malik Beasley, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, Dame Dollar, Larry Markkinen, Donovan Mitchell, Big Cat, and our boy Trae Young. So yeah, looking forward to see it. Look, it's hard to pick a winner. I know Cat's won it before. Dame Lillard, you certainly think could be a chance, and Halliburton's just killing it from outside the 3-point line the last couple of seasons. I'll put my homer hat on. I'm going to say Trey brings it home for the ATL, and he's the 3-point contest winner in this one. What are your thoughts?
Ooh. I'm going to go Malik Beasley, man. Malik Beasley. You heard it from me.
Yeah.
But I hope Trey wins. All right, the skills challenge. We got 3 teams in the skills challenge. We got Team Pacers, Team Top Picks, and Team All-Stars. The Team All-Stars consists of Scotty Barnes, Tyrese Maxey, and Trae Young. Team Top Picks, which is the pick of the public, I presume, Robbie, Paolo Banchero, Anthony Edwards, and Wemby, Victor Wembanyama. And then, obviously, with the All-Star weekend being in Indiana, Team Pacers consists of Tyrese Halliburton, Benedict Mathurin, and Miles Turner. I'm going to go Team All-Stars on this one. Some guys with a bunch of skills in Scotty Barnes, Tyrese Maxey, and Young. What are your thoughts?
Is there definitely not an error on that slide there, Woods? I can't see any Antetokounmpo brothers, so is there any reason why they're not doing this competition again and butchering it? God, they were a hard watch the last couple of years, I think. So, no, some good names in this one, isn't it? Some very big names there. Obviously, you got the hometown Pacers team there. Look, I won't say the trade team wins again. I'll say the top picks one works. I'd love to see how Wemby's going to look on that little course there, the skills challenge. Quite like a skills challenge. I always think it's something I'd like to have a go of myself, just to be throwing those bounce passes at speed and doing all those sort of things. So I'm going to say team top picks with the not the best name there, but I'll say they might win this one.
Yeah, it's interesting. Team top picks. Team All-Stars, they've got front players, Scotty Barnes and Victor Wembanyama are very good with handling the ball, and Paolo as well. Whereas Team Pacers have got someone like a Miles Turner who's probably, one guy lets you down in the skills challenge, potentially that could cost you. So I think Team Pacers might struggle with Miles Turner on that team. Yeah?
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. Now, you really enjoyed this last year, the Slam Dunk contest. You even got a Mac McClung jersey on the back of his victory, right?
I did.
So tell me, tell the audience who the contest are and what do you think of the field this year?
I enjoyed it last year. We mentioned how much I like the 3-point comp. I'm not that excited about this field, Wood. So you've got Jacob Toppin there, so brother of Obi Toppin. So I'm sure probably no one listening to this or watching this would have any idea who he is. You got Mac McClung, whose roster is even on now, Woods. So he seems to have bounced around rosters and G League spots and that. Look, you had to have him back, right? He was amazing last year. I think he's an absolute shoe-in to win this year. I'd say, no chance anyone even comes close to them there. Look, you got the Miami rookie there. I don't know much about his dunking ability, so we'll say he could be okay. Jaylen Brown, I gave my thoughts on that last week. Look, the guy hasn't exactly shown he can dribble. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong, he's a great player, but struggles a little bit dribbling wise there. So I'm surprised. I wouldn't see him as a prolific, dunker. I can't really remember him throwing any massive ones down in the NBA. So for me, Mac McClung in a landslide there. But wow, what a poor field of players there, Woods. They're trying to get this dunk comp back on track there. Why can't they get some more All-Stars there? And I think it's why can't some of these players put their hand up there? It's almost like the LeBron thing there. They're worried, I think, they're embarrassing themselves. I don't know what it is, but we've seen the legend grow, back in the days when we were growing up watching with people like Dominique and obviously Michael Jordan and those sort of guys there, and they're still remembered for it now. And now we're getting dunk comps with guys that literally aren't even playing on NBA rosters, so a little bit disappointing. So yeah, watch the 3-point comp and have this as a bit of an afterthought. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Jacob Toppin, fair enough. He's still a player in the NBA. Yeah. As you said, Mac won it last year, but does he even play in the NBA anymore? He's still in the G League. It would be nice to get some guys actually in the league to participate in the contest. Let's forget about the LeBron James and the guys that are actually in the NBA, right?
Well, you know what I'd love to see them do, Woods? If they're going to stick with this field of 4, which that just seems like a really small number. I don't know why they can't have 6 or 8, but they should almost make it that those 4 participants going forward have to be playing in the All-Star game. So I'm sure they can get 4 players. What is there? How many players in the All-Star game? The East have had a couple of injury replacements. So you're talking a field of, 24 people or something. Surely you can find 4 people out of 24 to compete in a dunk comp. I mean, absolutely they should do that.
Yeah, agreed.
And no celebrity game, I'm glad, because I didn't know who any of those people were apart from the ex-players. So, yeah.
I haven't even looked, man. So let's, we had a pretty quiet I talked to you last week about expected to have the deadline. There were some moves, so I just want to throw a few of those transactions out and tell me. So maybe let's start off with the Phoenix Suns. They received Royce O'Neal. What's Royce O'Neal going to do there for that team? Obviously, they've lost a few guys in Yuta Watanabe and whatnot, but does he help?
It gives them a bit of toughness there. I don't think at this stage of his career, Bradley Beal is known as a defensive stopper there, so he might be someone that can come on and sort of assist Beal a little bit on the defensive end. Seems to be a player that's quite liked around the NBA and is fairly versatile there. So I think that's not a bad signing. They didn't give up a lot to get him there. So, yeah, not a bad move just to strengthen the team.
And just quickly, the details of that trade: Royce O'Neal via the Nets, the Suns get him, and David Roddy via the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies receive Chimezie Metu, and Yuta Watanabe goes back to the Grizzlies. Okay, so another one I want to bring up with you here is the work Mavs have done. They've added PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, and they've parted ways with Grant Williams and Seth Curry, who have gone to the Hornets. We've already seen that these two are going to help that Mavs front court, yeah?
No, I think it's good. I mean, I've probably got them and the Knicks being the winners of the trade deadline. Look, they certainly gave up a little bit to get to PJ Washington. That first round they've given up, if I'm not mistaken, it's a top 2 protected pick. So say Dallas were to have a bad season, say Luka was to get an injury and they struggled next year, that could be a really high draft pick. Obviously, there's a lot of what-ifs there, but yeah, I like the fit of PJ Washington going there. Gafford's someone that's good. He certainly doesn't mess around the rim, does he? When he dunks it, you know about it there. So I think that works out well, and some pretty good signings. They lost Seth Curry, and I think they can make up for him. And great to see that they did keep Josh Green. I know we mentioned his name last week. So I think Dallas have done well. I think they would have done a whole lot better had they have, maybe thrown a bit more money and signed Jalen Brunson a couple of seasons ago. I'm still not quite sure. People are making that out to be a big thing. Perhaps it didn't matter about the money. He wanted to go to New York and be with his father and those sort of things. So maybe that's a mute point there. But yeah, I think Dallas have done really well. And yeah, like you said, the early returns are looking pretty good for them.
Definitely. And you mentioned Knicks, so let's talk about them. Alec Burks comes back to New York. They get Bojan Bogdanovic, and in turn the Pistons get Evan Fournier, Malachi and Quentin Grimes, and Ryan Archdiakono. A couple of those guys have been waived already from all reports. So Knicks really do strong there with those guys coming into that roster, right?
probably highway robbery would be the word that I'd describe to talk about that trade. That's just absolutely horrendous there, Woods. I mean, Burks has been good this year. He's obviously a former Nick, but Bojan Bogdanovic there, he's got playoff experience there. He's someone that you can start or you can bring him off the bench. Pretty versatile player. He can probably play, at least 2 or 3 positions there. So I think they've done really well, and they've had a really good season trade-wise there. And I think the Knicks are no longer a laughingstock there. They've got a lot of weapons on that team now, and I really like what they've done. So, yeah, big ups to the Knicks there. As for Detroit, Woods, again, just have to shake their head on what they're doing. I mean, they actually waived Killian Hayes, who he was a top 6 draft pick, was it 2 or 3 seasons ago maybe? So, and I thought he had a few skills there. I'm just not sure whether he'll go to another team and suddenly find it, but they continue just to baffle me with some of the moves they make in that front office there in Detroit.
Yeah, definitely. I was a big fan of Killian Hayes, and I thought that parting ways with him after investing so much time on him was probably a silly move. And I think, as you said, he finds a more conducive environment for him to be successful. We might see him succeed.
Yeah.
All right. So the Nets, okay, the Nets have received Dennis Schroeder and Thaddeus Young, who's since been waived, and the Raptors get Spencer Dinwiddie, who's also been waived. So Dennis Schroeder at the Nets, where's Spencer Dinwiddie going to end up? Is he already in somewhere?
I think he already has ended up with the Lakers. I think that's official now. He was sitting with Rob Pelinka, aka Rob Lowe, on the weekend. So that's all signed, sealed. And I think that's a good move for them. They'll probably do a timeshare arrangement with him and D'Angelo Russell there. So I think that's a good move. I'm not a big fan of Russell there. In terms of the Nets there, look, obviously, we're both big fans of DS17 there. He had a great World Cup there. I think you can offer them something there. He's probably got a little bit maybe more offensive skill than Dinwiddie has, just in terms of, being able to get to the basket and his outside shot as well. So, like you said, a lot of these trades are just basically people that are being bought out and everything else like that. So it's a bit of a strange time, isn't it? So at least all these players that are being bought out aren't all going to go to good teams. I think they've changed some of the rules there. And Lakers maybe have been an exception getting Dinwiddie there. But, interesting anyway.
All right, a couple more I want to touch on. Philly, they're fine Curry. They've also got the services of Buddy Hield now and Cameron Payne. How are you guys going to help Philly?
Firstly, shout out to Buddy Hield, my daughter Emily's favourite player there. So I'm probably on the looking at getting another jersey for him, which will be expensive. And I'm not sure. I said to her, I don't want to get it because he's probably going to be. He might just be a rental there and find a new team. So maybe we'll see how he goes there. I actually think he might have been, maybe with apologies to Bogdanovic, the biggest name player in basically this trade deadline there, Woods. He's someone that I think he's probably outstayed his welcome there in Indiana. I wasn't getting the opportunities, but he is someone that can legit, help any team there. I think since he's come in the league, he's made the second most 3-pointers out of any player behind Steph Curry there. So that's a pretty amazing stat. We know that basically the NBA these days is just, like an NBA, a 3-point shooting competition, essentially. So having Buddy Hield's big there, didn't give up a lot at all to get him there. So I think if they can get Embiid back healthy, pair them with, Maxey, Buddy, Embiid, I think that's a pretty good trio there. So I think Philly did pretty well in that trade. And, getting Campaign as well, you're not bit of a straight swap, I guess. You're giving up a point guard and getting one in return there. But, I thought Philly did probably under the radar a bit in that deadline trade there.
Yep, I agree with you. Finally, Gordon Hayward to OKC. Veteran, come in, probably might even close games for them once he's fit and healthy. I think that's a good acquisition for that lineup, right?
Yeah, no, he's someone that's always been a popular player throughout his career. It's always just been the health that's, really let him down these last 5 or 6 seasons. So hopefully they can get something out of him and he can, be that veteran presence they need because they do have a very young roster there. So, I think there's no issues for me with that trade and getting Hayward on the team.
Yep, totally agree with you. A couple of other moves: Pat Beverly going to Milwaukee, Doug McBucket's coming back to Indiana. Any other from the deadline you wanted to discuss?
Not really. I mean, it's probably more some of the teams that didn't make trades. I mean, we talked about the Hawks last week. Obviously, they stayed pat there. They didn't trade guys like DeJounte, some of these other players. Apparently, there was a really close deal, I heard a few people saying, with the Pelicans there, but the Pelicans were insistent on getting double O on Onyeka Okongwu. So Okongwu is on a really good rookie contract at the moment. So I think the Hawks just weren't willing to do that. And we can see how he's played in these games with Capella out. So I'm glad they didn't sort of rush and make a bit of a rush trade there. And I'm excited to see this Hawks team when we go over there next month, Woods. Just disappointed that we're not going to be seeing Embiid, but at least we'll be seeing the Hawks team as we know it right now anyway.
Awesome, Robbie. Yep. Getting down to business end as well after the All-Star break, approaching, playoff time. So really exciting time of year. Now tell me, how's my internet doing today? Good to do classic packs? Or?
I still feel like it's wireless and you need to unplug and you start your motor, but I think we can do classic packs, Woods. Yeah, let's give it a go.
I think it is my computer, and from next week, I'll use a new computer. So let's hope this comes out okay. Yeah?
We need to, Woods. We'll probably tease it a bit at the end while you're opening that, but we have a couple of legends of the game coming on. I'm not going to spoil the names now, but I'm talking legendary NBL players there and players that have played for Australia as well. So, you want to make sure your connection and your computer are looking good for next week, brother.
Sure. I got your favorite Skybox inaugural edition. You didn't want to?
Nice. Some pretty artwork. Let's hope for Hawks players, no Danny Manning, and maybe like a Kevin Duckworth or one of those guys we always pull here.
Okay, this player played for the Sacramento Kings and has the same surname of a Perth Wildcats import from 1990 season. He was a white guy.
Bobby Hansen.
Bobby Hansen.
Liking that stuff?
And I'm referring to who? Bobby Hansen. Yeah.
Hansen. Look at that card. They couldn't even get him on the court. Yeah.
These are the Series 2 ones.
Okay. So there could be a few interesting names in this, yeah.
Okay. He was well known for being the spectacle while he played. Had a great career with the Lakers. He's featured heavily on the... Kurt.
Loving the shorts there. Yeah, it's funny. People don't always automatically think of Kurt Rambis with Phoenix, don't they? It's always the Lakers, the team they think of. So, yeah, obviously had some time with the Suns.
Listed under 6 foot. This player also featured on the rap C that was put out in the early 90s. You actually had a jersey of his.
Dana Barros?
Dana Barros.
Nice. Love that guy. He was a great player to watch.
Center from the Milwaukee Bucks. Had a long career. White guy, wore number 43.
Frank Brakowski?
Oh.
Brad Lohaus?
Nope.
That's my two big white guys that played for Milwaukee.
Jack Sikma.
Jack Sikma, of course. I should have got that. Yeah, he's a more high-profile player than him. So, yeah, no, good one.
Got a Chicago Bulls checklist card.
Nice. It's gone. Wouldn't it be funny if some of these checklist cards were actually worth a lot of money, Woods? But, yeah, I'm sure they're not.
Number 18 forward for the Cavs. Outstanding player.
Hot Rod Williams?
Hot Rod Williams.
Nice. You're testing me out with these clues in your internet connection, Wood, so I'm doing my best, brother.
Okay, he is known for being a great three-point shooter. Works for NBA TV.
3D?
Was a draft pick of the Orlando. 3D? Dennis Scott.
It's a rookie card too. A few of these guys have rocked these jerseys, haven't they? So a bit of a Dana Barros, 3D there. So yeah, big fan of 3D.
This guy was always a third string center for various different teams. Left-hander. He was featured heavily on the documentary, the Bulls documentary. He played behind Bill Wennington.
Scott Williams.
On The Last Dance. Not white guy. On the very end of the bench.
Jack Haley?
Joe Klein.
Joe Klein. Yeah, well. Yeah, it's funny. I don't remember him much on the Bulls. It's always like teams like Boston that I remember him on there. But shout out to Joe Klein.
The greatest free throw shooter of all time, I think, or one of the top two, also had a small coaching stint here in Australia, which was
Mark Price.
Which was unsuccessful.
Didn't go too well here, but no, great free throw shooter and a great player. I remember playing with him on, I think it was NBA Showdown 94 Woods. You might remember that one. It was back on Sega.
What a great game.
Make every shot that he used to take. Yeah. So I used to like playing with the Cavs with Mark Price.
we've got these guys cut so many times. Probably one of the most famous people from in New York City, big man and center.
Not Patrick Ewing again. Crikey's. I'm tipping Woods. You've probably got a whole folder of Patrick Ewing cards after these ones we pull. We seem to get his card every second week. I reckon it's unbelievable.
Okay, I know very little about this guy. Center from the Golden State Warriors. Doesn't even say his number. In fact, I can't give you any clues.
College?
Doesn't even say that on the back of these cards.
This is going to be a hard one to
guess. Steve Johnson.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't have picked that one. Looks like he's getting blocked as well, so it's not his finest moment on that card.
Okay, Miami Heat checklist card.
Dude, checklist. Wow. Rip it up as we always do. Shout out to Lee Ellis.
Shout out to Lee. When we're in Vegas, you've stated many times, like, go to the casino and do this.
Kevin Gamble.
Kevin Gamble.
It's Kevin Gamble would be good at a casino.
Okay, a famous actor named Burt.
Jerry Ice Reynolds.
Jerry Ice Reynolds, yes.
So he could fill it up, that guy back in the day for the Magic.
Don't know much about this guy. 6'7" forward from Miami, wearing number 50. You might know this, such an odd number to
50
have.
What?
55.
55. Not Bimbo Coles, no.
He's a forward, 6'7".
Okay. Keith Askins?
Billy Thompson.
Oh, okay. Billy Thompson. I do remember him, but I probably wouldn't have guessed that one.
Not bad for Series 2 pack, normally these ones.
Not bad. We got Ewing, we got 3D, we got Dana Barros. At least there was a few players of note there. So, yeah, we've had worse ones. So, no, that was fun.
All right, why don't you take us out, man, and let the audience know a little bit about where we can be found, followed, and all of that.
Sounds good, mate. So, yeah, please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe to us on YouTube. If you listen to the audio, please make sure you subscribe to those weekly so you know when they drop. In terms of social media, we can be followed on X at Throwback Hoops, Instagram throwback.hoops, and our email address is throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. There's also Patreon that we mention most weeks. If anyone wants to pledge some support there, just go onto Patreon and search Throwback Hoops. And yeah, look, Woods, as I mentioned, I've been busy recruiting, trying to get some guests coming on. So I know we're both really excited. So we've got a special guest next week and then 2 weeks after that. So we're obviously, going on our trip in, about 40 days, I think now. So we'll definitely bring out some special episodes before we go there. But yeah, really looking forward, really encourage everyone to tune in next week to see who this special guest is. Maybe I'll give a few clues there, Woods. An NBL champion, stalwart of the Australian Boomers Olympic team there. So I won't give any more clues there, but yeah, a massive name of Australian basketball, and really looking forward to have a chat with him next week.
Awesome. Yeah, really excited, man. And as you said, get another computer out here so the internet connection is good for next week.
Definitely do that. Yeah.
We appreciate everyone's patience and ongoing support. And until we do this all again next week, it's a warm goodbye from Robbie and I and the team at Throwback. Peace out.